Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Welcome to this new video right here on Ethereum. We're going to do a full update on Ethereum. I'll tell you what to expect. I'll tell you about the news that we have today, and just in general some interesting levels. I mean, obviously Ethereum has had a very bearish week. Dare I say the most bearish week since the middle of August, which actually, you know, if you say it like that, it's not that major, but obviously, I mean, at this point of time, we're losing some critical levels, right? So, for example, with that pullback that we had in the middle of August, we never lost the uptrend, and now you can see that Ethereum is actually losing the uptrend. And if you take a look at some, you know, potentially very important data, if you take a look at the ETH BTC chart, so the relative strength of Ethereum against Bitcoin, you can see this is the first time. Basically since July, but I would argue since May, that we're having a real a real breakdown in the price of Ethereum right now against Bitcoin. So that matters a lot. That tells you a little bit about the relative strength, and ultimately that makes me slightly bearish on Ethereum as well. Now, long term, I do want to say I'm still bullish on Ethereum. All right, so when we're looking at the 3-day time frame, when we're looking at the weekly time frame, I think we're going to be fine, but it might take some time, right? And that very much depends as well on the price action in the next week. We have some news today. I do think when we're talking about the short-term price action here, which I know a lot of you care about, I do think we're forming a bottom relatively soon. Right now we're finding support at the 90-day rolling VWAP 200 EMA combination, but in general this level between 3900 and 3600 is also a high time frame demand zone, right? You can see on the weekly time frame that it very much is. So we have a very strong support level. So far, would I say that we're getting a very good reaction to it? No, there's no bullish divergences yet. And that's also, especially today when we have some news coming out, we have the PCE price index and the core PCE price index coming out at 12:30 UTC. So do the math on what time that is in your time zone. I think we can push down lower. I think the fundamentals short term are also indicating a push down lower. But when we're talking about the general area right here, especially between 3700 and 3800, which is the middle of that high time frame demand zone, but it's also a fair value gap. And we also have the 0.5 fib here at 3550 for a potential spike and some sort of a liquidity grab. I do think it's most likely that we will be able to form some sort of a bottom there. All right, and then it will very much depend on how we will form that bottom. Whether on the higher time frames we're going to do something like this, right? So that we're going to consolidate and then jump back up, and then ultimately get into some sort of a consolidation like this with Ethereum, which would be the best case scenario. Because if we're able to form a consolidation like this, then we can also relatively soon still expect a move into 5500, or at least in 2025. But if we get a very weak reaction at 3700 and 3800, and we're unable, for example, to get to 4200 again from there, we might have to prepare for lower. And when I'm talking lower, the next support level would be right here between 3300 and 3200. But there's a possibility we spike down all the way to 3000, right? So then the pain that can happen for Ethereum holders becomes exponentially more, I'd argue. But okay, so sticking to the short term, we have some major news. We want lower than expected data coming in. That would be great for us to actually form a bottom right here. For now, I would still say, you know, I think it's quite likely we're going to spike down once more. If we get good news, I'm not sure if we're going to spike down once more, but then I do think we're going to form a local bottom. And I also do think it's most likely that from that local bottom, we will at least be able to get a move into 4100. So short term, that's what I expect. But fundamentally, my bias at this point of time on Ethereum, as it has been this entire week, is bearish. So I would definitely be careful with taking any long-sided positions on Ethereum. But those are my thoughts. That's what I think you need to know. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care. And bye.